There's times that you just want to have the weekend everybody else has and be able to relax and enjoy it. And yesterday we had a mega broadcast go out on the public platforms. It exploded. I'll leave a link if you're on the public platforms. Love you to watch it. It's a video I did and it took off. We followed it up with more details because somewhere in the back of my mind, after reading what was happening, I unfortunately saw something that was going to come, and never did I expect it to happen so quickly. So quickly as in this morning. Events now brewing up across the United States. Events that nobody ever wants to see. This is just one of those events. Multiple people shot as gunman unleashes hell on earth in a Mormon church in Michigan. But this wasn't the only event yesterday. Folks, this begs a very large question. Are we at war? Domestically? What has been unleashed in the great Republic of the United States of America? Who's fighting back? And who is the enemy? It's a story I'll cover for you here in just 1 minute. Somber note we're taking today, and there's reasons for that. This will be a bit of a schizophrenic broadcast because as I'm preparing it, more things are taking shape. So just bear with me for a moment. Sometimes these get a little tough to frame in. We're learning now multiple people shot as gunmen unleashes hell on earth at a Mormon church in Michigan. The incident's still active. Allegedly, roof has collapsed. Well, allegedly, you can see that it's collapsed. And it's unclear how many fatalities at time of this recording. I'm sure by the time I'm done, there'll be more clarity. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone involved in this. That's not all that was declared. Yesterday, did the entire broadcast on Trump activating the military, DOJ sending their people out to every ICE facility in need. Department of Homeland Security going on high alert. And then you get the ignorance and incompetence spewing out from, well, everybody who you'd expect. Let's go to Portland first, because I couldn't believe what I was reading as it was happening. Democrat senator denies there's a war being waged by Antifa in Portland. I've studied Portland for a long time. Anybody who watches Portland would know. This is Brian Schatz out of Hawaii now, senator out of Hawaii. There is no war zone in Portland, Oregon, and the American military should not deploy to American cities unless another country were attacking us. Now, we know what Trump did. He put an executive order out against Antifa, declaring it a domestic terrorist organization, which is a little bit of a tricky term. I'll get there. It's easier to declare somebody a foreign terrorist organization. Antifa may have just done that to themselves, mind you. Andy Ogo comes out, who always challenges on Antifa. Do you want to go with my colleagues to the ICE facility in Portland? It's been under siege since June. Can you live stream it so the video tells the story, not your lies? Ryan comes back, Senator Schatz. If there's a narrow and well-explained and justified law enforcement mission, then I don't necessarily oppose that, but saying is a war in the United States has specific legal and civic implications that should concern us all. Somebody challenges the senator. You didn't answer the question. So he does. No, thank you. I don't want to go there. I just want to spew my talking point, but I have no interest in going there. Well, why not? If it's so peaceful, why wouldn't you go there? I mean, he comes later and says, I'd be happy to go to an ICE facility. I've done it before, but not accepting a Twitter invite, but you engaged in an X post. Doesn't really prove anything. I just think it's dangerous to call it a war zone, and using the military in American cities is to be avoided. Is it? Why? because law enforcement there needs help. We've seen that successful in other cities. So why? Is the lawlessness what we want right now? What would you call it? Are you serious? Like you think our country is being attacked by a foreign army? You can have very conservative views about immigration enforcement without believing there's a war on Portland. Well, why? Why can't those go hand in hand? Have you see? Oh, that's right. That's right. So where's that information coming from specifically? Well, the likes of Ron Wyden, senator from Oregon, shows this video. I'm going to replay it. I'm going to lower the sound, and he shows the ICE facility. He tries to get away from the graffiti because they attempt to clean up these buildings as much as they can every day, and he shows, look how peaceful it is. There's nobody here at this ICE facility, although it's all boarded up and blocked up. Nobody there, not a soul. Pretty soon he's going to pan around and show everyone exactly how peaceful it is, but there's a problem. You see, the Antifa events generally happen at night. And unfortunately for Senator Wyden, someone took a videotape the very same day, except at night. Now he's declaring that Donald Trump needs to stay the hell out of our city because look how peaceful it is. Well, what's inconvenient for him is this. I'm going to lower the volume. Because at night, man, there's suddenly a whole lot of graffiti now, isn't there? Looks like that building's something entirely different again. And it is the actual war zone that it normally is. Now, that's not the picture that Senator Wyden showed you, but you got to ask yourself, why? Who are they defending? What are they standing up for? Do they want this in their streets? This is okay. People are to be allowed to walk around peacefully in their city, to walk through, to go enjoy a restaurant, to go shopping, to bring their families down these streets, not to bump into rioters outside an ICE facility in gas masks like this is normalcy. Oh, of course, Senator Wyden didn't want you to see this or the signs hanging everywhere, police everywhere, tear gas everywhere. No, he doesn't want you to see the agitators. No, he wanted to show you a dayside photo of what was happening. But they don't need backup. No, Portland is perfectly peaceful. I don't know about you. Does that look perfectly peaceful to you? I'm just asking again for my hundreds of thousands of friends. We're going to challenge the narrative. And I do challenge the narrative, and I challenge it through evidence every day. And if they don't need support, and there isn't a war being waged within our borders right now, a direct action has been planned for September 28th, mind you, that's today, at the Portland ICE facility after Trump issued a statement that he plans to send in troops to protect the federal property. Antifa and communists have said they refuse to back down and plan to escalate their rioting. They have called for military reinforcements in Seattle and Los Angeles, feds out of Portland, ICE out of Portland. An increased amount of militarized federal agents have descended on Portland. Tell Trump we want them gone. Huh. Rally at the ICE facility, Sunday at 4 p.m. Hey, Ron, just so you know, that starts at night. You gonna bring your camera out there then? Oh, I'm sure you won't. Oh, I am positive you won't, because it wouldn't fit your narrative, huh? But everything's peaceful. So I ask my audience, why wouldn't they want this stopped? I've got a lot to cover on this today. Before I go forward and cover all the details, because we have a longer podcast, I know you're shocked by that. There's so many details every day. Trust me, I'd actually like one Sunday to wake up and be like, man, there's nothing to report. Let's go to breakfast, babe. But she doesn't get that ever on a weekend anymore. I want to thank all of you for helping Lisa's video yesterday be so successful. I'll put a link to her channel above if you want to watch it. It's the last video posted. You see yours truly up there. Also, I'd love you to make sure you're subscribed to this channel by helping me to beat the algorithm. You're helping these videos to grow, this channel to grow. So always make sure your bell is checked to all. Those of you who've joined as members here, thank you so very much. That has expanded greatly. Super thanks, help to keep the lights and cameras on. Going to Restricted Republic, where I'm going to continue on this unfortunate story. The shooting at the American Fish Company in Southport. And how it involves Kelly Pickler. You remember that, don't you? Remember that name? There's a court filing involving the alleged suspect. I'll give you the background. I'm not comfortable doing it on the public platforms, but, again, research will find you everything in a very short period of time. So as I extend on, that is what the information I'm going to provide over there, give you a little bit more framing of this, because they are going to use this story in a very nefarious way. And it is extremely unfortunate, because if you understood the background of who the accused is, folks, it's somebody who has a history of very significant, what appears to be mental issues. Someone who served in our military. But we'll go into details. I'm being very guarded as to what I'm saying, and that is intentional. Another huge favor from you, from somebody who's helping me to bring you this video today, and I bring him up, and because it's been so successful, because it's helped so many people in my audience by making, all they had to do was make a simple free phone call. 805-619-5011, the name of the company's chapter. What do? They're licensed Medicare professionals. It's that easy. If you were a loved one or looking for Medicare, just trying to make sure you have the best plan, in under 20 minutes or less, they can determine with all your options in your area if you truly have the best plan or not. It's a free phone call, so it doesn't really hurt to call. The average person who does make that decision to make a free phone call, shouldn't be a hard decision, saves on average $1,100 a year. Most people under 20 minutes or less determine if they have the best plan or if they could put money in their pocket. That is the simplest thing I can ask you to do today. And this partnership has been so successful, I'm going to continue to roll forward with it, because my audience has continually put comments below and thanked me for this company. And that is truly just warming to me, because I know I'm bringing you a service that's valuable. And in return, Chapter brings you a service that's valuable by making a free phone call to 805-619-5011. It's that easy, folks. But now let's get back to this video. So this Antifa, President Trump declared them a domestic terrorist organization. That's a little challenging, because it falls into a little bit of a gray area. We have many laws in the books, but we have very defined definitions of foreign terrorist organizations, but we don't do really good with domestic terrorist organizations. And they go into courts, and it's always litigated. And so when you define it, because anybody who doesn't believe that Antifa is not an organization, I'd love to argue with you all day long. But nonetheless, a domestic terrorist organization doesn't have the best definition in U.S. law, until Antifa ruined that for themselves, thankfully. We've had many executive orders, 13224, Bush put this out, which clearly defines a foreign terrorist organization and what makes them that. Specifically designed, global terrorists were created under Executive Order 13224 by President George W. Bush on September 23, 2001. It permits Secretary of Treasury designating entities or individuals as SDGTs commit or pose a significant risk of committing acts of terrorism that threaten U.S. nationals or national security, provide material support to the designated terrorist or terrorist organizations, or they are owned, controlled, or acted on behalf of an already designated terrorist group. This is pretty clean cut. Makes it a lot easier for Trump to litigate some of these folks, because that term domestic terrorism is a little bit more difficult. So if you were Antifa, the last thing you'd want to do is prove that you are A, an organized organization, and B, have ties in other countries. But that is specifically what Antifa just did. We are a closed group to members only, but if you're interested in joining, please send us an email with a little bit of information about you and what makes you interested in joining. That's from Rose City Antifa chapter. If someone is blocked, tells you that they're from Rose City Antifa, but doesn't offer you a way to confirm it, either by emailing us or referencing you to somebody who can reliably verify our identity, then it's safe to assume you didn't just meet somebody from Rose City Antifa. Looking to join your local Antifa? Over the last 24 hours, we've received no fewer than a dozen requests from contact information from local Antifa groups. So now you have a structure all over Europe. Now you have international connections. This is fantastic. If you're one of the people who wants to hook up with your local Antifa, here are some things you need to know. We aren't in contact with every Antifa crew in the world, yet, in the world. Thank you for making it global now. Global terrorist organization. Now there's a definition for you. In a lot of ways, Antifa are more organized than ever before. Thank you for now calling yourself an organization. And we're seeing cross-border collaboration now makes you a foreign terrorist organization. Even better. President Trump, I hope you have access to this information. Andy Nogo found all this for you and now put it out to the public. The International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund, the International Days of Solidarity with Anti-Fascist Prisoners. So while we're building towards the day when we all know every Antifa crew everywhere, we might not know of an active one in your area yet. But here's one in the US, here's one in the UK, here's one in France, here's one in Sweden, here's one in the Netherlands, just in case anybody was unclear. It was a global terrorist organization. They put it out. We just helped to find it. And now they have an event tonight. You didn't think things were going to slow down, did you? To every anti-ICE coward, docs threaten assault or lay a hand on ICE government law enforcement, and you too will join these sickos in facing prosecution to the fullest extent of the law. And now, a federal grand jury has charged 3 women with illegally doxing ICE in Karen Bass's Los Angeles. Radical leftist followed an ICE agent home, live streamed it, and posted the officer's home address, and now they've been federally indicted. Game time is over, and the battle's begun. And that should have been it all. And every U.S. senator and congressman should be working with the administration to cooperate to end this violence, but they're not. They're increasing their rhetoric and their resistance. They're still calling Trump, which name should we use? An authoritarian? A fascist? Never mind the call to arms. Never mind that it's happening in front of everyone's face. Let's deny it and pretend it's not organized. Let's just pretend none of it makes a difference. No, let's make it even worse. I've obtained a copy of an internal draft letter from Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and surrounding areas denouncing any attempt to militarize the Portland metro area. Portland will be providing resources for legal support for protesters, Antifa, and will deploy human rights observers to monitor, assess, and make determinations regarding the legality of federal action. So they're not only not stopping it, they're going to send in legal assistance for a group that was just deemed a domestic terrorist organization by President Trump. Folks, I'm speechless that this is being done. Speechless. We will use all legal tools at our disposal to deny our jurisdiction's personnel, equipment, facilities, and resources from any participation or support of militarized federal action that targets the civil rights of our community. And we will protect those that are ripping apart the ICE facilities that I showed you the tape of, that senators want you to believe don't exist, and will provide material and legal support for those very same protesters. And you wonder why Trump wants to go after the very root cause of the situation, which is the NGOs funding it. That coming out of, well, alleged Portland Mayor Keith Wilson's office, who's supported by other mayors across the country, who says, you're right. I've spoken to Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and offered my support and Seattle's collective support. Trump's threats against American cities are illegal, authoritarian, and attempt to silence free speech. What I showed you at night, was that free speech? It was intimidation by a group who's now declared that they have global connections everywhere, by a group who's organizing protests, by a group who last time when they went in to try to stop them, it wasn't pretty. It's never pretty. And this is the epicenter. The Trump very well knows why he activated the military on the epicenter. Because if you can't quell this, you can quell nothing. But again, this wasn't enough. thinking, processing here. A lot of news for you, huh? You have Comey being indicted. You have John Brennan pleading his case because he knows more than likely it's either him or Ray. I'm not sure which one quite yet. Maybe next.
You know, I don't see any case against me. I have looked back on all of my actions and decisions, and with John Durham, the special counsel, and others that have looked at what we did, it was certainly consistent with our legal authorities and with the law. So I don't know what, they're referring to there. Individuals who used to work in the government, even if their security clearances were revoked, they could be subpoenaed. They could be, called to provide testimony in support of whatever allegations they have.
So I, John Brennan, have reviewed my own case about things that I could have potentially done or being accused of doing illegally. And I, John Brennan, have determined that I, John Brennan, am innocent. That's literally what he just said. Because the internal structure of what was the old Washington, D.C. is running scared. It's being outed. It's being called out for what it is. They want to call President Trump a lawless president, I believe was the name. Lawless. Lawless. No, he's enforcing the law. He's enforcing structure, rigid structure. And he is purging out those from the ranks that did not enforce the laws. They only protected themselves. For instance, as I reported to you yesterday, now Trump has learned that there was 274 plainclothes agents, FBI agents, at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. That number was withheld from you. As a matter of fact, if you even went further into that, here was testimony.
Things here, and please don't distract here because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents.
It's really all you have to hear, huh? He doesn't know. He's not sure. Why is everybody running so scared, huh? Why is Brennan? Why is Comey? Why is everybody running so scared? Why are we finding out about the FBI? Why is America waking up to the realization that they've been lied to about everything? Well, maybe it's because now Tulsi Gabbard uncovered more documents found hidden in a closet somewhere for 10 years, showing that Obama doctored the intel to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the 2016 election. They found more documents now. So now you have, finally, Antifa being declared a domestic terrorist organization. You have James Comey being indicted. You have John Brennan freaking out. You have Chris Wray being shown that what he basically told was a lie. And what comes next? What do? Sit back? They never sit back. Ever sit back. Because eventually the ranting of calling Trump a tyrant is failing. America's eyes are being opened because you are ranting against a group like Antifa that won't stop their antics, and it will continue to show up on the nightly news, well, at least the real news sources. And so now we get into what's occurred, and we're going to come back on the second portion to what Marjorie Taylor Greene just said. I am not suicidal. And one of the happiest, healthiest people you will meet. You know why she stated that? You see, they're all nervous right now. And for very good reason. No, we trickle into events brewing up everywhere. In Grand Blanc Township Police Department, there's been an active shooter at the Church of Latter-day Saints on McCandless Road. There are multiple victims and the shooter is down. There is no threat to the public at this time. The church is actively on fire. For people on site, the reunification site is the pavilion to the north, and we have a tragic event. We have a protest being scheduled tonight in Portland. We have another shooting at the American Fish Company in Southport. And folks, unfortunately, I will be reporting on more events that will be happening because we are in a great era of instability in this nation. When you attempt to clean house and rewrite a ship that has gone wrong a long time ago, what you see is instability. And now I'm going to continue on to, because this is the part of the broadcast where I can no longer keep the moderated tone. I just wanted to make sure you understood why Trump did what he did. He didn't activate the military to throw the military into U.S. streets just because. He didn't increase the security at the White House just because. They have intelligence. They know what is being organized and orchestrated, or else he wouldn't have put out his second talking points, which was to go after the NGOs, which was the second part of my broadcast yesterday, in great detail, about who they are, how they operate, as a lateral government to our U.S. government, except they don't have rules and regulations. No, he did it purposefully, because he knows the minute he begins this onslaught, unfortunately, a great degree and time of instability will occur, and you're here for me to report to you on all the events, and we will continue to do so as we now continue on to details that may make you a bit more uncomfortable. And you need to be, because that means you'll also be aware of your surroundings. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.